let's continue to review simplifying expressions. Looking at number 1, I noticed there is a number outside of the parentheses, which is the fraction 1/4, and there's another expression inside the parentheses. So I know that I have to multiply everything inside the parentheses by the number that's on the outside of the parentheses. So 1/4 of 8x. I know that a quarter of 8 is 2. So 2x. Plus, I know that 1/4 times 1/4, well, when I multiply fractions, I multiply my numerators together. So 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 4 is 16. Now let's look at number 2. Number 2 gives me the lengths of 3 sides of a triangle. And it tells me to find the perimeter. Well, perimeter, I know that I add up all the sides. So I'm going to look first at all my x's. I see I have a 5x, I have a 2x, and I have an x. So when I add those together, 5x plus 2x is 7x, plus another x is 8x. Then I'm going to add up the numbers, and these are all fun fractions. Well, I'm noticing before I start doing anything, I notice I have a 1/3 and a 2/3. They have common denominators, and I know that when I add 1/3 plus 2/3, that equals 1 whole. And 1 whole plus a half is 1 1/2. So plus 1 1/2. And that's it. Cannot combine anything else. That would be the perimeter of my triangle. Remember, we can only combine the like terms. Like terms have the same variable in them raised to the same power, or they're regular numbers. In this case, they were fractions. Number 3, Anna is 5x plus 6/7, and Jen is 4x plus 2/7 feet tall. How much taller is Anna than Jen? So we see that Anna is 5x and 6/7, and Jen is 4x and 2/7. How much taller means we're going to subtract. So I'm going to subtract Anna's height, or Jen's height, from Anna's height. So when I set this up, I'm going to write 5x plus 6/7, and I'm going to be subtracting everything in here, everything. So 4x, and instead of that being now a plus 2/7, we have to subtract it, so it's going to become a minus 2/7. And when I do that, I'm going to start here. 6/7 minus 2/7 is 4/7. It's positive 4/7, so it's going to be a plus sign. 5x minus 4x is 1x, so that would just be x. So Anna is x plus 4/7 feet taller, and we can label our answer. Next, let's find the perimeter of this parallelogram. Next, let's find the perimeter of this parallelogram. I notice that the bottom here is T and this side is S, which means the top is also T and this side is S. To find the perimeter, we know we add up all the sides. So I notice that if one side is S, then the other side must be S. If the bottom is T, then the top must be T. So let me start by adding up my S's. S plus S is 2S, plus T plus T is 2T. So now let's find that answer here. I'm looking at A. Well, A does not match, so I'm going to cross that out. I'm looking at B. B says to multiply S times T. No, that's not what I have here. And then I'm going to look at D real quickly. D is wrong because we're only adding 1S plus 1T. We're not getting the full perimeter. Now, so the answer has to be C. To show you that it is C, we could use the distributive property to show that these match. 2 times S is 2S plus 2 times T is 2T, and they match. Lastly, they give me the area of a rectangle, and the area is 12x plus 36, and they want me to find the possible lengths and widths for this rectangle. Remember, to find the area of a rectangle, we multiply the length times the width. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself, what do these two terms have in common, 12x and 36? Well, I notice that I can divide them both by 12. So if I divide them both by 12, I'm going to get, if I put a 12 out here, if you remember doing this way back when, 12 times what gives me 12x? X plus 12 times what is 36? 3. So my length could be 12 and my width could be x plus 3. So my length could be 12 and my width, I'm going to call it W, could be x plus 3. That's one possibility. What other numbers could I divide 12 and 36 by? Well, I know I can divide them both by 6. So if I bring a 6 out here, 6 times what is 12x? 2x. Plus 6 times what is 36? 6. So in this case, my length could equal 6, and my width could equal 2x plus 6. And we could reverse these. We could say the width is 2x plus 6 and the length is 6. That's another possibility. Then I say to myself, well, what else goes into 12 and 36? And the more you know your times tables, the easier this is. When we did this earlier in the year, if you remember, we called it factoring. So I know that 4 goes into both. So 4 times what gives me 12x? 3x. 4 times what is 36? 9. So my length could be, I'm going to change it up this time. I'm going to make my length 3x plus 9. I'm going to make my width 4. And like I said, you could reverse these. What else goes into these 12 and 36? Well, I know 3 can go into 12 and 36. 3 times what gives me 12x? 4x. 3 times what is 36? 12. So here, I'm going to go in reverse again. My length is going to be 4x plus 12, and my width could be 3. And like I said, these could be reversed. You could say the length is 3 and the width is 4x plus 12. I'm also noticing there's another number that I've left out here. I know they could both be divided by 12, by 6, by 4, by 3. Yep, you guessed it. They could also be divisible by 2. So if I put a 2 out front, 2 times what is 12x? 6x. Plus 2 times what is 36? 18. So my length could be 6x plus 18, and my width could be 2. And there's one more possibility. We could also divide both of these by 1. So I technically could put a 1 out front, and then in the parentheses I would have 12x plus 36. And I could choose either of these to be my length and my width. Notice, for any of these, if I do the distributive property, 12 times x is 12x. 12 times 3 is 36. So if they give you answer choices, you could just use the distributive property and see if you get what's up here. If this guy's the length and this guy's the width, or vice versa, this is the length, this is the width, multiply and see if you get what's up here. Notice, when you multiply 4 times 3x, you get 12x. 4 times 9, 36, and so on. So sometimes it's helpful to use the answer choices. Good luck on the next few problems.